This American order to ban the export of N95 masks comes under something called the Defense Production Act. What does this mean for Canadians, and what other shipments could be blocked as a result? Let's get some answers from our southern neighbors. Bruce Heyman was Barack Obama's ambassador to Canada. He joins us from Chicago. Hello, Ambassador. Thank you for being there for Power Play, and hope you and your family are well. President Donald Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act. Explain briefly, if you could, what powers does that give the president?
It gives them extraordinary powers. It actually can force companies to produce specific equipment that maybe they don't even make, or direct companies that make specific things to produce it in a certain quantity, in a certain way, and provide the government. And it's meant in the time of war or other, circumstances like the circumstance that we find ourselves in now.
So, in your opinion, this is justified, that the president needed to take this measure? You think American companies would not have stepped up?
No. So here's the situation. We have to go back, because we get ourselves in where we are now. The president knew that a pandemic was a possibility, because I was with the Obama administration when this was the #1 issue that kept Barack Obama up at night. And he left for the next administration plans on how to tackle a pandemic if it happens, and a team in place to do that. In addition to President Trump getting rid of that team and shelving the plan, he had the advice and counsel of his intelligence community, the scientific community, and medical community, telling him in January, we've got a problem coming, and it's big. And so he didn't plan for this. He didn't initiate the building of these masks, the ventilators, the equipment. He didn't prepare America for this. In fact, he denied it just a few weeks ago, that this was a hoax. And so here we are, now we're in a desperate situation. And he does, in the fog of war, he's making decisions without thinking strategically. It's all tactical. Reactions, not thinking, not understanding the implications and the importance of the US-Canada relationship. And that needed to be taken into account when making a decision like this, and at least collaborate and cooperate and work together with our Canadian partners in developing an understanding and approach that could protect Canadian and American lives. You're always there for us. Canadians have been there for us in foxholes in Afghanistan. You've been there for us at Katrina. You were there for us for Sandy. You were there for us at 9/11. You're always there. And so the reality is, this is larger than just being next door neighbors. This is about family. This is an existential relationship that needed to be thought out before just doing this. Now, are we short masks? We sure are. And we're in a jam now with our doctors and medical technicians. And so the president's in a problem.
Yeah, and you're in a jam. Well, so is Canada, because we don't have the adequate medical equipment, protective medical gear for our frontline workers. But today, yesterday, the 3M company that manufactures medical devices has been pressured by the U.S. Not to export those N95 masks they produce to other countries, including Canada and Latin America. And so, as an American, I'm wondering, because, we're all thinking about ourselves, although, we love to share in good times. These are hard times. These are times when everybody across the world is looking for these masks, for these PPEs. As an American, do you instinctively feel that maybe, hoarding this stuff is the best thing to do for your country, and it's each country for itself?
So the president is not only doing this between countries, he's doing this between our own states. For those of you who are paying any attention to this, the president has basically told each of the states, go find it on your own, go do your own thing. And then yesterday, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, addressing the United States of America, says the backup supply for our states is not for our states. It's for he basically said, no, you guys think that's for you, it's for us. And they changed the website this morning to dictate how that should even be used. Look, we have a problem in leadership in the country, and unfortunately, we're feeling the impact of it domestically, and he's impacting us on an international basis and with you, our best friend. And all I can say is I'm sorry, and I hope we get through this with the least amount of pain and loss that we can. And we should find ways to work together. And if anybody can find the way, I know Justin Trudeau, Chrystia Freeland, I know your new ambassador well. If anybody can do this, you guys can do it. But it's not going to be an easy lift here because of the jam that he has himself in.
No, it isn't. And, you know, we know the Prime Minister today called the move by Donald Trump a mistake, hinting that there could be some retaliation, just hinting there could be some retaliation from Canada. For instance, there are 3,000 or thousands of nurses and Canadian doctors that work in the States that cross over every day, and maybe they won't cross the border to go to work. So do you see this coming to that? Do you see this escalating to the point where the medicine or that the United States sends to Canada, and God knows there's a lot of it, may be stopped by the president? Do you see this getting a lot worse?
I did not see that as a threat by the Prime Minister to the White House. I saw that as an education moment about the complex and interlocking relationship that we have. 80% of the Canadians live within 100 miles of the U.S. border. We travel and we live together. There are more Americans living in Canada than any other country in the world outside the United States. And so this is much more interlocked than people think. And I think the Prime Minister was trying to, in his own way, educate the White House that this is a much more complex decision than just a tweet or a quick statement. My father told me when I was a little boy, engage brain before putting mouth into gear. Well, that's my advice to the president today. Engage the brain and strategic thinking before doing a tweet or making decisions like this that affect us for the long term.
And fun fact, Ambassador, this is the day that Canada ratified the new NAFTA. Sad, but fun fact, I guess, at the same time. Thanks for your time, former U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Bruce Heyman. Thanks for joining us, and stay safe.
Pleasure.